welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Cuz You Don't Know Football. Guys, we had some big ups last week. Last week was an amazing week for us. It was probably the biggest week of Cuz You Don't Know Football history. We want to, and I'm only reading it just so that I can look at the exact numbers. But people literally had to ask me, did we go viral? And I thought that was amazing. So of our reels, we released three reels last week. Uh the lowest one was 35,000 views. The next lowest one was 38,000 views. And then the highest one was 52,000 views. That's remarkable. For us being this big, it just says a lot about the growth of the podcast. And honestly, I'm just very thankful to be in this situation. So real quick, going from what the podcast was to what it is now, my co-host, I really want to thank my co-host, more specifically, JB, Tazar, Austin, my new guy, Nick, Jamal, and everybody else I'm talking to bring on the podcast. I really want to thank you guys for helping me on this journey because none of this is possible without you. And of course, I want to thank the viewers because without you, nothing is possible. And I just want you guys to know that you guys are helping me fulfill my dreams. And I really want to thank you guys. I really want to tell you that I appreciate you. And that's that. So this week's show, we're going to get right into it. We're going to talk about last week, crazy week. We of course, we got a guest coming back on because we always got a guest coming on. So we're just gonna bring my man JB back on. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna get to it.
Yo,
JB,
what's good, my guy?
JB, welcome back to the show, man. We so happy to have you, like always, man.
What's going on?
Listen, man, I was just telling everybody about how last week our views just skyrocketed, and I just want to make sure that you know, and everybody else that was a part of this growth, man. I really appreciate y'all for coming on with this journey, and I don't think anything even from last week or what's going to happen next is possible without you. You know what I mean?
Nah, no doubt, man. Thanks for having me. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody that been a part of this.
That's
You
a
know, we
that's a fact. Okay. We ain't even gonna waste no time. We just gonna get down to how we get down. You feel me? So I brought up the tank today because over here it was like 85 degrees outside. So I said, you know what? I'm keeping it in summertime mode because that's how I get down.
I
Okay.
know that's
so so last week's games, there were some
mm-hmm.
crazy games. So I almost forgot which games I even said to you. All right, cool. So we're gonna start with the Packers Lions game.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna just read off some quick stats about what happened in the game for both teams, and then we'll just get straight into that.
Mm-hmm.
So last week, for the Detroit Lions, Jared Goff was 19-28, 100 no, 19-28, 210 yards, one touchdown, one pick. David Montgomery had 32 carries for 121 yards and three touchdowns. They did a pretty good job of spreading the ball around, but my man Reynolds had three receptions for 69 yards. But Amon St. Brown had the touchdown. On the
Yeah.
Packers side, Jordan Love was 23 of 36, 246 yards, one touchdown, two picks. There really wasn't much on the ground. There's not much really to talk about. But Romeo Dobbs had 9 receptions for 95 yards, and CJ Watson had the touchdown. So what was your takeaway from the game, and what did you feel, or talk to me about it?
Um, so I just think it kind of reassured and showed what we've been talking about since the offseason about, the Detroit Lions, kind of being legit. They were showing how legit they could be on both sides of the ball. Uh, you saying that the Packers really couldn't get anything going on the ground, like that was hats off to the defense. I mean, they say a lot of things about the line of the Packers and stuff, but that was really hats off to that defense. Like they were flying. Yeah, I mean, Aiden Hutchinson was showing that he's probably going to be one of them premier pass rushers within the next couple years.
Boy.
Brian Branch, his name Brian Branch. He's
Yep,
looking
yep,
like
yep,
the
yep.
draft. He even got injured. He making big plays, got hurt, end up coming back in the game,
Again,
making
yep,
big
yep.
plays. Like, yeah, they look real legit. Even though the offense didn't look as entertaining as they have been looking, like they just were doing what they need to do to win. March the ball down the field. David Montgomery healthy again. He's just getting in the end zone. So it was just pretty much showing us what we kind of expected. I will say though, I have been very, very impressed with Jordan Love this season. He didn't have the greatest game then, but he actually has been doing very well this season. And that was actually a fight for the top of the division in that game. So it just goes to show, even though it's only 4 weeks, but it just goes to show.
Yeah. So I still have questions about if Jordan Love is the guy there. And I don't even know if it's totally fair because I've just never seen an organization get 3 quarterbacks right in the draft just like that.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. And so I always think that there's always, I'm always skeptical until I'm proven wrong. So that was that. So with the Packers, I think all year we've pretty much been looking at them and saying or wondering who the Packers are. I think they did surprise some people with how they played and everything, keeping it close with some games and winning some games that we didn't think they were going to win. And you're right. Detroit didn't play its best game, and I would actually venture to say because if you remember, I picked Detroit to go to the NFC Championship game. So
Yeah.
this game that they lost. I didn't think they played a very good game that game either, but I do think it's you always want to win the games even when you're not playing your best, and
Yeah.
I don't take that away from a team not playing their best and then still doing what they got to do. They still won by 14 points. So I look at that and I definitely see where their growth is there, and I'm actually kind of I'm not going to say impressed with their win, but knowing that they didn't play well and I watched the game, with them not playing well, it didn't look like Green Bay was really they never really had a chance to win the game because they went up big and then Green Bay had a little comeback and then they just finished them off.
Yeah. Even when I was watching the game at work actually, and one of my coworkers like, "Yo, do you think they're about to come back like they did last week?" And I'm like, "No, they're not. Like the game's going to get put away when it's time to,
Right.
but they're making it interesting right now." I said, "But now this game's over."
Right. So like Green Bay might be that team. So like with sports betting, I always like teams that they're not going to win, but they're not going to get blown out. But they're going
Yeah.
to be in games where you can look at it and the spread's going to be crazy. And they look like a team that they're going to keep it relatively close throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on, we're going to talk about that Bucks Saints game. So with that, let's get to some stats there. So, all right, we're gonna start with the Buck stats. Excuse me, the Lions game they won 34-20 over Green Bay. I don't think I said that. But
Yeah.
so the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won 26-9 against the Saints. So Baker Mayfield was 25 of 32, 246 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. They had a decent game on the ground. White had 15 carries for 56 yards, no touchdowns there. Chris Godwin had 8 receptions, 114 yards, and Tompkins, what's his name? Devin Tompkins. Devin Tompkins actually had a touchdown. Actually, they got some names there that I don't even recognize anymore in Tampa Bay.
But that's because Mike Evans went down kind of early with the injury. So
Right. So that's here nor there. With the Saints, Derek Carr actually started this game, and I was thinking he was actually going to be hurt. Derek
yeah.
Carr was 23 of 37, 127 yards. Alvin Kamara actually played this game. He had 11 carries, 51 yards, and they spread the ball around. Thomas had a few receptions. Alvin Kamara had a few receptions. They did their thing. Talk to me about this game.
Just I don't know. It's just something about the Saints that I'm just not excited about. I don't really, what I mean, I don't really follow them as heavy. I do love Chris Olave, but outside of like him and Kamara, I would have been more interested if Jameis Winston ended up starting and Derek Carr didn't play.
I'm not.
But it's just like you know, I am very impressed with what Tampa Bay has been doing though. And honestly, like, everybody kind of wrote Baker Mayfield off. He's like revamping himself. And it's that defense is still showing that they're that same defense, that they could be that same defense that was there when, Tom Brady was there or whatever. So shout out to Todd Bowles for that. But it was just, another NFL game where it was kind of close, but these are two teams who nobody's really thinking about talking about. So it's not really anything exciting to me.
Well, ironically, in the summer, I even said I like if I was to pick a dark horse team, it would actually be the Saints. And that was based more on their potential as opposed to their factuality over the years. So
Yeah.
they have a good defense. Chris Olave don't even have to say that. Derek Carr is like year to year up and down. So like he's definitely had some terrible years, but he definitely took a Raiders team to the playoffs, and they had no business being in the playoffs that year. That was more recent history. So I looked at that, and then I looked at Michael Thomas coming back. I said, if he's like 80% of who he was, I thought that would make it a lot easier for Derek Carr. And then Alvin Kamara coming back. If he's 80%, Alvin Kamara was that guy that even when Drew Brees was there, they said, "Oh, we got to run the offense a little bit through him." And Drew Brees went from dissecting everything, making every decision to just dumping it off to Alvin Kamara. So I looked at them and I said that. I tend not to overreact to interdivision games. So I definitely thought the Saints were going to win this game. Even they lost pretty big, even if they lost big, it just happens in division games from time to time. You see each other twice a year, y'all know each other the most. I suspect that the next time they play, they'll win that game. So they'll split the year. So but Tampa Bay is absolutely better than I thought that they were going to be.
Yeah.
I thought they would have maybe. I didn't think they would win a game thus far, and they're at the top of their division. So I actually do want to give them kudos. I'm curious to see how this prolongs. I'm not going to act like I feel like Baker Mayfield is some.
Oh no, he's still Baker Mayfield.
I'm not going to act like he's not exactly who I think he is, but for right now, he's absolutely playing well. You know what I mean? Maybe.
And I think those are the two factors which why I'm not so excited for that game. The division aspect and Derek Carr. I've never been big on Derek Carr. I've always kind of said he'll shoot himself in the foot at some point. So yeah, it's just like one of those things.
Okay. All right, so I'm curious to see. I mean, it's not a very good division, but it's good. At least it's a two. It looks like it might be a two-team race at least.
Uh, Probably.
I still think the Saints are gonna win that division, but whatever.
They should. Let's say that they should, but I kind of have my hat tilted towards Tampa Bay right now.
That would be crazy. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. I might actually have to say if Tampa Bay was that division, I might have to say something good about Baker Mayfield.
I mean,
he would be the reason.
I'm not gonna let the league Ryan Tannehill him to me, but he's playing better. Like he's doing what he's supposed to do to win the games.
To say that though, look how you had to get that.
I know, and that's why it's like he's still him.
I'm not prepared for that. I think the Saints are gonna win. I'm not prepared to say good things about Baker Mayfield. All right, so we're gonna move on to a dark. It was this game I wasn't expecting to be as good as it was. The Rams versus the Colts. And the reason for it, I think there's actually topics in this that we need to that I feel like we need to discuss, and
It's
that's really more than anything. Say it again.
in those games, it's too many star power injuries for the game to actually be as good as it was.
What is going on? My whole offensive line was hurt. The whole Colts offensive line was hurt, and I'm like, what is going on?
But I mean, I will say this: y'all got y'all guy.
No, I'm still sitting back on that. We'll see.
Yeah, that's scary. That's the scary fan in you. But I mean,
We'll see, man.
he's doing everything that is expected of him and a little bit more. I don't see why not.
All right, let me get into these stats and we'll get right back into that.
All right, yeah.
So for the Rams, Matthew Stafford. Oh, the game. Okay, the Rams won in overtime, 29-23. Matthew Stafford was 27 of 40 for 319 yards, one touchdown, one pick. Kyron Williams had 25 carries for 103 yards and two touchdowns. I still can't pronounce his name. Puka Nakua. Am I saying that right? Yeah.
Nicole, I just say Nicola. Yeah, I don't know if that's what it is.
Puka. So Puka had 9 receptions, 163 yards, and one touchdown, and that touchdown clinched the game. But whatever. Anthony Richardson was 11 of 25 for 200 yards, two touchdowns, and no picks. Zach Moss had 18 carries for 70 yards. Anthony Richardson also had a rushing touchdown. Then he did basically a good job of spreading the ball around. Alex Ogletree had the leading with 48 yards and a touchdown, and Mo Ali Cox had one touchdown. So
and then rush for like 60 yards too.
He rushed for 56. He rushed for 56. So Anthony,
that's good numbers. Like that's
okay. So yes. So let's take it back. So Andrew Luck always was able to come back, and everything. But the problem was, how did we continuously get into that situation?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Anthony Richardson in the first half, he looked like a guy where he's not used to not having all of the best pieces. He looked like it in the first half. Now, in the second half, that was impressive. But once again, that's a comeback. That's a comeback. And I'm of course, anytime you're able to move the ball in the NFL, of course, anytime that you're able to do what you do, it's impressive. But I would rather see him in one score games the whole way rather than coming back or playing from the lead and have that. We know his on paper, I mean, like his credentials are his credentials. You know what I mean? We know what he's capable of. I want to see him be consistent.
Now, first 4 games, you don't think he's been consistent outside of the tweak injury?
Oh, and by the way, if you remember in the summer, me and you and Tazar was talking, and we did an episode. We were talking about Gardner Minshew, and you said he never won anything, or he never beat anybody when he was in Philly, or he never did anything. Well, last week he did beat Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. That's a whole nother conversation of how that broke down and everything like that. Even when Tazar was here last week and I talked to him about it, he's that shouldn't have happened, and I think it shows the testament of where the roster is, and if you are not messing up, what you can do with it. But Anthony Richardson was messing up in the first half, and I'm not going
to. I don't think Gardner Minshew is that bad of a backup. I think he's actually one of the backups in the league that could come in and win you games. But so that was a very weird and ugly game that they did pull out and win, which those are the games you want to win in the NFL to keep momentum going. But like just for this game though, I mean, he's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. You feel me? So he's gonna have those droughts. He's gonna start off a little rocky sometimes. We gotta still remember, AD and them are still over there. I mean, their defense is nowhere near as good as that Super Bowl, but they got some players, some pieces over there. Matt Stafford, I don't really understand where a lot of the knock for him is. I don't think he's amazing, but I think he's an exceptional quarterback. And with that system, like, look at Nakoa. Like, he's looking like the next Cooper Kupp. Like,
Cooper.
could he do that anywhere else but the Rams? Like, I don't
Who?
believe.
Who? Cooper Cup? Who's that? We got
Exactly. Like, he's making it seem like all you got to do is just keep throwing one wide receiver the ball and you can have a triple crown. Like, that's how he's making it look. He has the most. What do they say in the first 4 games of the season? He has like the most receptions or some. Like, he has some crazy stat line they were showing. I'm like, that's just because he gets the targets.
Can we talk about that? Yo, they throw out these stat lines for 4 games, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, compare not like Peyton Manning and."
But
Tom
I will say this. But see, I will say this though.
Like Marvin Harrison and Jerry Rice, like, all right, he had Hall of Fame 4 games, but like they do that a lot.
And but my thing is this though, and that's why I don't think he's like the next big thing. I did say though, I said I think the first game he played, he had okay numbers, but the targets were crazy. And I said they're about to Cooper Kupp him. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because when I said that, one of my boys in a fantasy league ran and went and picked him up. And he's kind of been benefiting from hearing me say that one day. And now he's like going crazy with him. But it was weird to me because I'm like, yo, they're about to Cooper Kupp him. I said, he's doing all of the same stuff. And now look at, his numbers are crazy. Like, his stat lines are crazy the next couple games. I'm just like, yeah, that's, people hate to hear the whole system player thing, but it's kind of what this is.
Yeah. So, and the other thing about this game, I think both of these teams are better than, and I'll even talk about myself too. Mm-hmm. I think both these teams are better than we thought they were going to be. You know what I mean? Like, the Rams are not bad, and I thought that they would be a lot worse.
Yeah, I just thought the Rams would. Well, healthy, I thought they would be good. With the injuries, I thought that they would probably drop, but they're showing that they still can, get the job done. Traded Cam Akers away. Karen Williams is ready. He was good in college, so like I'm not surprised about him, but his opportunity came and he's ready. Nakoa just came out of nowhere. Cooper Kupp's supposed to be coming back. The defense isn't playing terrible. They can make some noise in that spotty division because honestly, outside of San Fran, like you can say Seattle, but outside of San Fran, anything else can happen in that division.
No, I think you got definitely say Seattle too. Seattle's a threat. Seattle's a threat.
To who?
Seattle. Okay. In the playoffs.
Not to San Fran, no.
Seattle is not the team you really want to play in the playoffs.
I think it's a lot of NFC teams that when the playoffs come, if Seattle was there, they would much rather play them than a lot of the other teams.
So they're not going to win the division. So you're talking about the wild card teams.
Yeah, yeah.
Wild card teams. They're absolutely the one wild card team that you probably don't want to play in the NFC.
I don't believe that.
Okay. We'll see. I don't have an argument for it right now because it ain't. I don't have an argument.
Too early. It's still too early. It's still too early.
So that's the truth. So yeah. So then that leads us to the last game of our games to watch from last week. The Buffalo Bills won 48-20 over the Miami Dolphins.
Aha, that's what they get.
We're gonna get there. I feel like we're about to agree on some stuff, and you ain't supposed to, but I'm just curious about it. But Tua Tagovailoa was 25 of 35 for 282. One touchdown, one pick. Anche, or how you say it?
Chain? Devon Achane, whatever. Yeah.
Is it a chain?
I think it is.
Achane had 8 carries for 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. And honestly, they spread the ball around. Tyreek Hill had the most amount of yards with 58, but Berrios had 1 touchdown. And then we go over to the Bills side. Josh Allen was 21 and 25, 320, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks. It really didn't do too much on the ground. You know what I mean?
Air raid.
Yeah. But Stephon Diggs, 6 receptions, 120 yards, 3 touchdowns. Gabe
Mm.
Davis, he had 3 receptions, 61
He had a
yards.
long pass.
You know what I mean? And Micah Hyde had a pick too. I just peeped that. So hold on, let me jump on this one because I got some stuff to say. So I've been hearing all off season about or all off season and then how the Dolphins started.
Mm-hmm.
Um, about how there may not be a formula for it. So also my boy Nick, who's one of the new guys on the show, he's a Dolphins fan. So I've been and all I've been saying is, guys, first of all, can we pump the brakes a little bit? I get that they are offense, they have the potential to put up 70. We all watched it happen. But can we not act like they can't be contained for some strange reason? And I said, listen, their offense, and this is why I love having defensive guys here sometimes, because offense guys, they don't be trying to listen. They don't be really want to hear it. Their offense is predicated on big plays. I just told you they had 8 carries for 100 yards. Those are all big plays. And then they're like dependent on Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to get downfield.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek Hill is like an elite route runner. No, is Tua Tagovailoa. People forget that Tua, before he had all of this, what they were saying about Tua. I understand he has what he has, but everything is very much go downfield, nothing chunk plays. So a defense that can put them in a situation where they have to grind down the field and they have to run the ball because they're just taking away all of this and they don't really have to blitz. Any one of those teams that have a defense like that and a quarterback that can play better than Tua, it's not even a overly complicated formula to how you can beat them. And I feel like people looked at, like, for instance, before you, and I'm gonna let you go, people forget even the greatest show on turf, which was a way more dynamic offense than this. That
Mm-hmm.
in the NFC Championship game, and people forget the 2007 Patriots. There was an answer for that after all. And actually, this is like a less talented version of that to me, of that offense.
But way more explosive.
I wouldn't say that. Randy Moss was there. Randy Moss was there.
Wait, what you mean you talking about?
The 2007 Patriots when they lost to the Giants.
Oh, okay. I mean, even still, then you talking wide receivers, running backs, and speed and all that. This might be the fastest offense we've ever seen.
Correct. That's fine.
But like you said, there's a formula to beat them. And it is the formula that I was screaming at the TV the whole time they were running up and down the field on us putting up 70. Keep 2 safeties high, get pressure on the quarterback. Simple as that.
Ignore the run. They're
But
not.
all you got to do is make tackles because you don't want to completely ignore the run because obviously, and they ran up and down the field on us too. So it wasn't just that. You're so worried about what Tyreek Hill is going to do, what Jalen Waddle is going to do. And Waddle didn't even play when they put up 70. But you're so worried about what they're going to do. Keep your safeties high. Let everything come underneath and just make your tackle. And that's something, like you said, that Buffalo Bills can do. They have great safeties. They have, a good front seven. They don't really make a lot of mistakes. They get to the quarterback. They all hit. They tackle. And then, your offense just has to score too. And if you can do those things, and we played them terrible. And it exposed our defense, obviously. That's why we had a lot of changes. We just cut Randy Gregory and, he had to make some other changes. But, I do believe that Miami is legit. Like, I'm not taking anything away from them. I do think that they're very explosive. They're, like I said, one of the fastest offenses we've seen. But, I never was assuming that they were just going to run through their division or win the Super Bowl or anything like that. Nah.
But that's what it sounds like when people talk about them now.
I mean, because it's the excitement, it's the wow factor. Like I personally believe in Tua. Tua is doing what he did in college. He's throwing the ball downfield. That's what he did in college. He has deep ball accuracy, no matter what these analysts try to say. The reason they all jumped on the bandwagon and now they're all Peter eating him now is because he's proven them wrong, so they don't have anywhere else to go. But it's still the NFL. The Bills are the Bills. No matter, people just tried to shit on Josh Allen a couple weeks ago.
I think they
now they're right back on him.
Josh Allen. Like, I would agree ever since he lost Brian Daboll that, yeah, he is more inconsistent like he was like from game to game before he got there. But stop acting like that man's upside isn't second to Mahomes or Joe Burrow and Mahomes, and he's not in that category. And that's something that I think Tua is not. And that's why.
And on top of that, they got a arguable top 5 wide receiver on there, and that nobody can seem to stop. So it just goes to show you, like, yeah, it's other teams who can put up points. And a lot of times with Miami, their defense isn't amazing. They have good defensive pieces. Their defense isn't amazing. You can put up points on them and you can get a couple of stops and contain them a little bit. You'll beat them by a few touchdowns. Absolutely. And that's what happened. And maybe you could try to be an analyst and say, they're hungover from putting up 70. And I don't care. So what? That's what y'all get. It's bitterness from a Broncos fan, but that's exactly what y'all get. Tried to show off, showed out, and then you came and got your behinds kicked the next week. So there you go.
I wouldn't even go in that route.
I was.
I'm telling you, I'm one of them guys. I don't think Tua is as good as people say he is right now. I remembered what he sounded with the.
I think he's pretty good, man.
I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's bad, but he's not a top 5 quarterback. No.
I don't think anybody has ever called him a top 5 quarterback.
Have you heard what they have been saying?
Anybody who's called him a top 5 quarterback, we obviously know they don't know what they're talking about.
I don't think he's top 10. I think there's 10 quarterbacks that are probably better than him.
10?
Well, let's look it up real quick.
I don't think I can clearly give you 10 quarterbacks better than him. Performance. I'm not talking about full-blown career. Performance-wise, right now, I don't think I can name 10 quarterbacks better than him.
So, my question is it unfair to put Aaron Rodgers in that conversation because he got hurt?
You can put Aaron Rodgers in there just based on he got hurt this year, but the past couple of years he's
okay. So if I was to say, now this is personal, but I would say Aaron Rodgers. I would also say Matthew Stafford. I know that's controversial. I would say Matthew Stafford. I would say take a look. Those were just the 2 at the bottom that I was thinking. Trevor Lawrence. I would go Herbert. I would go Jalen Hurts. I would go Lamar. That's 6. I would go Joe Burrow. That's 7. I would go Josh Allen. That's 8. I would go, of course, Pat. That's 9. And
he's 10.
Hold on. All right, he's better than Dak. He's better than Dak.
He's 10. And honestly, I wouldn't put Matt Stafford there, but okay.
Okay, all right. So I'll leave Geno off this. He got to do it this year too to have that conversation. Okay, hold on. Jared Goff.
No.
Listen, Jared Goff. Listen.
Jared Goff does a good job, but Jared Goff is showing you this year that he had a great end of the season last year. He is struggling this year with everything he has. They're winning because they have a well-rounded team. But Jared Goff isn't out there wowing nobody. And he has a lot of weapons. I'm not sold on that train.
I'm telling you right now, if I had a choice for a quarterback for my team and I had Jared Goff and Tua, I would take Jared Goff.
Yeah, you might be a little off for that.
Listen, Jared Goffman y'all gonna put some.
I don't sleep on him. I think he's better than people give him credit for, but I'm also not gonna push his ceiling to the sky either. We're not gonna sit here and do that. He's good. And he plays exceptionally well sometimes, but he also plays very, very scary other times. And I don't think you could put no scary quarterback like that ahead of somebody like Tua. Tua done played through some of the craziest injuries, and he's still putting up crazy numbers.
So he's 9 or 10.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's still top 10.
So, all right. But what I'm saying is he at the bottom of the top 10.
I'm not saying he at the top of the top 10, but bottom of top 10 is still top 10.
I mean, I've had to have conversations about him being the most accurate thrower of the football.
No, see, stuff like that is just narrative. We're not going to go by narrative other people make. That's Tariq Hill's narrative. So nobody else said that. Nobody would have said that if Tariq Hill ain't say that.
I agree.
Let's be honest.
But it wasn't true. I don't think he believed. I think he had to big up his quarterback because this is his quarterback.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're not going to run with that narrative that we know isn't true.
Okay, that's fair. So maybe it's just me, and I'm just a little fatigued about this because I didn't have this conversation a couple of times, and I'm like, why do y'all keep saying why y'all keep going towards 5-1 as opposed to?
And it's crazy to me because I feel the opposite. Like, why did y'all try to shit on that man so much before, and now like you don't got no choice but to shut up because he's still just putting up numbers like it's nothing?
So it's not. So that answer, it's not his fault. So the problem is NFL GMs always reach for quarterbacks as opposed to getting the right quarterback. They get a quarterback. Now, when you draft a quarterback in the top 5, you expect him, whether anybody wants to admit to it or not, if you draft a quarterback in the top 5, you expect him to have the ability to carry your team. Tua does not have that ability to carry his team. And that's why people were so hard on him because it was like you went in the top 5.
But why coming out of college could he not carry his team?
Well, he went to Alabama, in which he had the most amount of talent.
But we could say that about a lot of quarterbacks they think going to carry a team. And that's my thing. Analysts have said other quarterbacks who had all of this other stuff could carry their franchise, carry their team, they're successful in college, they're this, they're that, that. He's shown all of those tangibles in college, and then people were just like, oh, he's just not going to get it done. In a few years, he won't be in the league. We won't hear his name. We won't see nothing. We won't hear nothing. He'll be on somebody's bench. He'll be out of the league. Like, then they crucified that boy coming off a major injury. Now he come back from the major injury, does amazing, has these concussion problems, does amazing coming back from that, started this season, and now people are trying to retract their statements and jump on the bandwagon and all of that.
Right. That's bullshit.
Just let it play out, because I don't hear y'all talking about some of these other quarterbacks y'all were wrong about when y'all said all these praises about them.
Right. So once again, I said it's not all his fault, because remember, Daniel Jones was a top 5 pick, and I can't think.
And they try to make him out to be something he's not every year since he's been there.
And I don't care what anybody says, even though he got paid. Daniel Jones is a bust. Okay, I don't care that what they say. He is a bust. He's terrible.
To me, Daniel Jones is the worst starting quarterback in the NFL.
It was Baker until Baker then went 3-1.
And yes, it would have definitely been Baker Mayfield until this season, where he has just moved up 2-3 spots. But
you're right. I think you're right. No, I think you're right. He's the worst. He's 32. I think
yes. If you put all 32 quarterbacks up there, the last quarterback I want is Daniel Jones.
I think you're right. And
I'm taking all the rookies over him that are starting right now. I'm taking any game managing quarterback. I'm taking anybody over him. I might actually take – no, I'm all right. Yes, I actually might take a backup or two over him. He might be the 35th best quarterback in the league.
Oh, Andy Dalton's a backup. I would take him over Daniel Jones. Absolutely.
I might take Gardner Minshew over Daniel Jones.
I don't hate that statement. I don't hate that statement.
And I don't mean to jump on him so bad, but nah, he's terrible. And they try their best to make him be something he's not. They'll put up the little next gen stats about his miles per hour on runs, and they'll try anything they can. We all know that boy played bad.
San Fran's backup is the guy. What's the game from USC? Got drafted to the Jets. Can't think. Darnold. Sam Darnold.
I never.
Daniel Jones.
I really always really dislike Sam Darnold. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I could.
The only thing that's unfair, and I might have to. And this might be the one I might have to. Zach Wilson.
What?
It's pretty bad, man. But hold that thought. We gotta run this back. So moving on from Tua and him, that's another topic for another day. We had two topics that we want to cover today. Let's start with a topic or a we came up with cause you don't know football exclusive.
Okay.
Called Check You Out. So basically, these are surprise teams or players that we are shocked that they are doing what they're doing as of this point, and we want to talk about that. Go ahead, my brother. You do what you do.
So the main person on the main team that I got to give a good old check you out, shout out to is C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. We all said he was going to be the bust of the quarterbacks. We all said he was in the worst position. We all said, we said so many things, and it wasn't because they're terrible. It was just because, they're young. They got a lot they got to work on. They got a lot of pieces they got to add, and a lot of places need to be filled. And they out there like they ready with a rookie quarterback, with like two rookie wide receivers, a young offense altogether, a lot of young defense, and a very, very good start to a first-year head coach in DeMeco Ryans, who I actually wanted to be the Broncos coach in the offseason. So, that they are playing very well. And C.J. Stroud is doing the total opposite of what we thought he was going to be doing. So I got to definitely give him a shout-out because I literally, for the past 3 weeks, been saying, yo, check him out.
I still want to see how this transpires. You know what I mean? We'll see.
He's gonna at some point he's gonna hit some kind of slump probably or something, but he has been balling. They just won 30-7. Like he's doing what he wants.
I just want you to know they didn't do that to my Colts though. I just want to throw that out there. You see what happened when he played when he come over here to Indy. You see what happens, yo.
Yeah, things happen.
You didn't want to say it.
I'm just listen. We went from having one of the better defenses in the league to having the worst defense in the league right now.
Defense.
We are ranked like 32 or 31.
It's because y'all had a week where y'all gave up 70. I don't know how that happened.
Justin Fields just looked like Randall Cunningham last week. We're not about to sit there and do that.
All right. I'm not going to go.
But shout out to the Houston Texans, man, and shout out to C.J. Stroud. They are definitely doing their thing to start this season off, and I am very shocked. I am very surprised, but I'm happy for them.
Yes, shout out to C.J. Stroud on a Hall of Fame for game stretch to his career. My guy, who I'm saying is my man Puka. Yo, I know what you said about Puka Nacua. Listen, how he just played, even when Cooper Kupp comes back, I'm not sure if Cooper can have that torch back. I think Puka just did something that made them say, listen,
they are going to put Puka on the other side, and he is going to get nowhere near as many targets as he's getting right now.
I don't know, man. My man Puka. Yo. Puka.
That offense is set and built for one guy to be the show and everybody else to be a supporting cast.
And Cooper might be the supporting cast now.
Cooper is going.
They love Hall of Fame stats too, just like when we had Hall of Fame. He had a Hall
No, you're right, but they love Cooper Kupp. It has nothing to do with who we think could play better or whatever. They love Cooper Kupp. He is their guy. He is their all-American white boy. They are not about to let Puka Nacua come here and just take over everything. It's just not going to happen that way. They're going to try to have both of them, but Cooper Kupp is going to get the 15 to 20 targets as a wide receiver.
Look, look.
But shout out to Poop.
Hold on, his receiving games. He had 163 yards last week. Mm-hmm. Then he had 72 yards. Not gonna lie about that. Then he had 147 yards against San Fran.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had 119 yards against Seattle. So he's actually still doing it against like two of those 4 teams. He did it to.
He played 3 weeks, right? 4 weeks. He has like how many receptions? Like 39 receptions. That's 10 receptions a game.
You're making my point for me. I don't even want to talk to him.
No, but what I'm saying is, if he doesn't get that volume, will he still put up those numbers? No. It's going to go to 4. That turns into, if you don't get the volume, 4 catches for 45 yards, 6 catches for 60 yards, which are still good numbers, but it's not the 12 catches for 130 yards.
Mm-hmm.
It's a difference. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying nothing else. I'm just saying I'm not jumping on that train because I know who's driving that train.
That's very unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. So, all right, cool. Did you have another team or another player that you had? Well, check you out. This is new. This feels good too. Check you out, yo. We did that.
They are the Houston Texans and CJ Stroud are the biggest shock. So, nah. Nothing that like wowed me for a segment of check you out moment. Like I wasn't expecting it at all.
Okay.
Oh no, you know what? I will do this.
I'm all for this. Go ahead.
I will give a shout out to Devin Achane. 2 games he got touches. He had 11 carries for 200 and some yards and 3 touchdowns. He had 8 carries for 100 and some touchdowns and 2 touchdowns.
That's solid.
Yeah, shout out to him.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, that was 2 very impressive. It bothered me the first game, obviously, because of who it was, and I was really that angry fan. Like, he's a nobody. Who the hell is he? Why is he doing this? Like, it was just crazy. But he came back, and even though they lost in a losing effort, he still had 8 carries, 109 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's big.
Okay, all right.
So definitely give him a shout out, and hopefully he can keep continuing that. I mean, Raheem Mostert might be in a little bit of trouble.
He might be. So I got one for you. You're gonna disagree with it, but I don't care.
I might not disagree. Don't do that.
You're gonna disagree with it. Listen, I'm gonna check you out to Gardner Minshew. Listen, he goes into Baltimore. He goes in, beats Lamar Jackson. But hold on, that's not even the whole story. Bro, that's not even the whole story. He pulls a Dan Orlovsky and steps out of bounds and still wins the game. That's never happened, bro. Yo, Gardner, I've been saying I wanted Gardner Minshew to play all season. I've been saying that. I wanted him to play this season anyway. Yo, Gardner, check you out. Yo, it's not your fault. Gardner, for the first time, this ain't your fault. There's politics involved in this. And that's
I don't think I'm not going to disagree with you. So you're wrong because I'm not disagreeing. I never really had a problem with Gardner Minshew. I didn't think he was that bad in Jacksonville. I didn't think he was that bad in Philly. I don't think he's that bad now. Like I said, he's a guy who, if I needed a backup quarterback to step in and win a game for me, he's the first guy I'd probably go to. Mm-hmm. So I mean, yeah, shout out to Gardner Minshew then. That's what's up.
Well, Gardner,
I just don't like that you did that. I just don't like that you did that.
JB on your side. Go ahead, Gardner.
I just don't like that you did that because that's y'all, and y'all beat the Ravens and now you're bigging it up willy nilly. It was like a trap game. Let's be honest, that was a trap game. Y'all know what a trap game is.
It's just good play. You know what I'm saying? What you want me to say? And I rhymed that. I didn't even mean. I'm not you, the rhyming guy. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do that on purpose. You see what I'm saying? You see when the juice is.
Yeah. You got a little bit of charisma going. It's okay.
Listen, I was inspired. You feel me? All right. Let's go to the second part. Part of the segment. Now, the second topic, once again, because you don't know football, created topic. Listen, we in the lab over here, yo.
Get there, man.
We
Look, the views
in the
going up.
lab.
We gotta have special segments to appeal to the fans.
Listen, once you get 50,000 views, you gotta come with it now, okay?
Yeah, nah, you definitely do.
Do. You know what I'm saying? So we did check you out. Now we're gonna say, listen, it's about time to hang it up. So I want to know teams or players. They came in with hype. We expected it to, but already, even it's early and it's over with. I don't want to hear about this no more. So we don't have to go with the obvious situations here. I just want you to know you can say whoever you want. But I'm not going to say that though. I'm just letting you know. If you say it, you say it. I'm not saying it though. Go ahead.
So, player wise,
Or team.
I know. Because I could kind of think of both. I could kind of think of a player or two, and then I could kind of think of a team as well. First player, I mean, I just keep it home for a minute and say, kudos to Randy Gregory over there. Yeah, that big payday, it was absolutely for nothing. So
listen,
I'm
he's
glad
been
we
overpaid for years. That he got over and over and over. He's never been a good pass rusher, and he's just played defensive end, and that's it. That's all you
yeah,
can.
and I'm glad we got rid of him. So a big farewell and time to hang it up for him. But the main guy who I want to say it might be a little time to hang it up and let's move on from this guy. And I hate to say it because y'all know how I am, how I defend, my brothers out there in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But Dak Prescott, it is about that time.
It's about time somebody came over here. Welcome. I said that when he signed the contract. I said, "Oh, Dallas is not. You just cost yourself a Super Bowl." I've been saying that for a long time.
The more and more I watch him, and I've been saying it for a while that what his problem is the Cowboys want him to be the drop back and pass the ball 50 times a game and make decisions quarterback. That's not him. They stopped running the ball. They still run the ball a little bit here, but like what they were doing with Zeke those first couple of years, they completely stopped that. They just wanted the ball to be in his hands, and they want to get him all these receiving weapons and these cute weapons and throw, make the decision. And he's terrible at decision making. And that's his problem with turnovers. That's the whole issue. And they won't get out of that. And now he's been exposed. Nobody is scared of Dak Prescott anymore.
But why are they expecting him to drop back and throw the ball and stop running the ball so much? Why?
No, I personally think it's just I can't even think of their owner's name right now. Jerry Jones is I just think it's his ego and his just like he's one of those type owners. I want my quarterback guy to I just think that the way they do that is just terrible.
It's way simpler than this. They paid him top of the league money.
But they were trying. They were moving.
If I'm giving you $40 million a year, you carrying some shit.
No, okay? But they were moving. They were moving towards that before. They were moving towards that before they paid him all the bread. That's what I'm saying. Like this is what they wanted. All right, listen. I want you to come in. I want you to throw the ball a lot. All right, you want more money? I'm gonna give you $40 million a year, but now you really got the helm. And I think that's where they went wrong. And it's being exposed now. More and more every year, you start to see it more and more. He has great games, but then he has very, very poor games. That pick that he threw against the Cardinals to seal that game was so elementary that I'm not even expecting your rookie quarterbacks to do no stuff like that. Listen. He was right there. Like you were looking at the linebacker when you threw it.
Yo, JB, I just want you to tell everybody when it hits the fan, when the shit hits the fan. Rick said that shit like 2 years ago when he signed the contract. He said, "This ain't it. That's not the person you pay that money to." We had a whole discussion in the summertime about what quarterbacks to pay. He's not it.
I said pay him around the market value, and it was high at the time because he's young. He's putting up numbers, but I already knew what it was. If y'all want him to be this drop back 50 times a game guy, like This is not the 70s, bro. Like, this is not the eight. This is not those kind of quarterbacks anymore. Man, design plays for that man to be successful. That's where a lot of these coaches and organizations go wrong.
But you can't no more once you give him $40 million. He gotta carry it. And hold on. And I'm moving right over to the guy that I'm picking, and this is exactly what I'm saying. It just happened again. Daniel Jones somehow got paid $40 million a year.
He should have hung it up 3 years ago.
He's never thrown more than 15 touchdown passes in a season. Like, this is what I'm saying. So go back to the summer. This is my issue with GMs and the quarterback position. It didn't matter if he was the guy. You had a quarterback, and that's the problem. You drafted him for top 5. Now you got to pay him because you don't have an option. Honestly, they should have started over. They should have started over. They should have said, "All right, we went to the playoffs and we're gonna start over." But no, GMs don't want to do that because they got to be right about this decision. So they doubled down and paid him.
But again, it goes back to when you want somebody to be your guy and you're not analyzing him well enough to realize that he's not your guy. Because that's another case. Y'all reached to draft him. And when everybody said y'all were dead wrong, y'all doubled down and tried to keep praising him and then paid him mad money. And it just doesn't work that way. Like, get a real scout, get a real GM, get a real coach that is going to do the right thing. The teams that do the right thing are getting better. The teams who are putting all their eggs in these baskets because the organization, because the NFL says so, or because society is saying so, the game is changing. You need a quarterback. You this, that, and the third. This is the guy we want because he's so-and-so's grandson or whatever, because that's what I think Daniel Jones' thing is. He's related to somebody that we don't know he's related to that's in power that has him there. Because that boy has never been nice enough to be where he is, and they keep throwing him in our face, and it's kind of crazy.
I've never seen a bus get paid so much money in my whole damn life.
He gets paid so much money. He gets praised for what he doesn't do right. It's crazy. Like, he is terrible. But the only reason why I wouldn't say hang it up is because they should have hung it up 3 years ago. But you are absolutely right. He is that bad.
This is my problem with everybody paying quarterbacks. They're just going to pay. It don't matter. If they drafted him, they're just going to pay him.
You want to know what's wild to me? The first 4 games of the season in that division, Sam Howell is the second best quarterback in the division. That is
not
crazy.
Wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right. So another hang it up time to hang it up guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. Do I have another hang it up guy? I got some people that I'm on the fence on, and I'm gonna be honest with you. And I don't know if I want to just throw them on. So the first guy that I'm on the fence on is actually Russell Wilson. And
stop. Nope. I'm not gonna let you do this. No.
Listen.
Take him off the fence. He's playing way better this year. You can't do that, yo. It's the defense. You can't do that. We're putting up points. He's moving the ball downfield. He's doing all the right now. We're not doing that.
Listen, they're even getting Bronco players are even like tweeting and being like, "Listen,
nah, I don't care what they're doing. They're following."
So you're happy. You're happy with Russell Wilson.
I feel better about Russell Wilson. It's the defense. Are y'all not watching what's going on?
Okay.
It's the defense.
I'm not gonna go too deep on that one, but I have another one.
Week 1, Jacoby Meyer had like 130 receiving yards. Bro, that's not Russell Wilson's fault. Granted, we only put up 16, 17 points that game against the Raiders, which was a little bad. But after that, we have put up 20-something, 30-something points in every game, and we have lost because the opposite team has put up 30-something points and another team put up 70. Sam Howell put up 30 on us. Miami put up 70 and broke a record. And even though when we won, the Bears just put up like 30 points on us. Bro, you can't blame Russell Wilson for that. He putting up 20, 30 points a game.
Okay, I'm gonna give you that one. I'll give you that one. The other
I'll
one.
give you another one now.
Hold on, all right, hold on. Let me give you this one.
Go ahead, because I got another
So
one.
this one I'm on the fence on. I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought Deshaun Watson was gonna be better with the Cleveland Browns. And I can't think he hasn't had one good game. He's had
His last game was good though. Don't do that.
he got hurt.
Well, maybe it was the game before that then. But he had it was the one before he got hurt. He had a real good game before he got hurt.
Yo, this has been this mosquito been trying to eat me this whole episode, and I'm trying to get it, and I can't get it, and I'm failing. It's been trying to bite me the whole time. So go ahead.
Mac Jones, it's time to go.
Yeah, it's time to hang that. That's a better one. That is a better one. Yeah, it's time.
It's time to hang it.
But I don't think that's all his fault. Now I would agree. I would agree that it is time to hang it up with him. But yo, Bill Belichick gave him a defensive coordinator as his offensive coordinator. Yeah. Like he said, it's almost like he set him up for failure. Like
that is true, but
Bill Belichick was so bad that people started to say maybe he's mad at Robert Kraft and he's trying to just get out now and just save his legacy.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was true though.
like Bill Belichick and like these moves.
Bill gives me that petty.
Like these moves have been so bad. Like Juju Smith-Schuster was like their big offensive addition.
He ain't doing that. Mike Gesicki is actually, huh?
It's Juju Smith-Schuster.
Juju hasn't been the same since he left
Pittsburgh. That year, the last year in Pittsburgh, he was bad. The year before that, he definitely had a good year.
And it's
alongside Antonio Brown.
My dad's a Pittsburgh fan, and I tell my dad and them this all the time because like their whole crew is Pittsburgh fans. I say Antonio Brown is what happened to Juju Smith.
Absolutely.
Juju idolized him. He shitted on Juju, and Juju has never been the same since.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's really sad because, Juju was doing his thing, and all he wanted to do is play football. Now he's terrible. He's a terrible one. He was an amazing two. Now he's a terrible one.
Oh, listen, I said it. Like Patrick Mahomes and what he did last year, the fact that Juju Smith-Schuster was his number one wide receiver, like that's amazing that he won a Super Bowl with that. Like that shouldn't have happened. That should not have happened.
But it's Pat.
But it's Pat. What you want me to say? What you want me to say? Pat did it. But yeah, so okay, cool. Nah, that was a good one, Mac Jones. I think you did a better job on Time to Hang It Up.
Yeah, that's I like critiquing these guys that everybody praise so much. It's fun.
It's so much fun. All right, let's get to these games for next week.
Mm-hmm.
Games for next week. All right.
I think Jacksonville's been in London too long. They're gonna get spanked. Let's just start off that way.
I just think so. I was talking in the offseason. So one episode I had my brother on, and he was talking about Jacksonville's just going to run through the AFC South, and they might be the number one seed. And but he admitted that they probably wouldn't go far in the playoffs, but that's what he thought that how good they were. And I said, if Trevor Lawrence doesn't take like a leap, I don't think it's crazy that Tennessee actually could win that division. I think that's the next best roster after them. So yeah. I definitely don't think that they're grasping this time. And I think they should be, but I don't think they're grasping this time. So no, I don't think it's crazy. And for everybody that didn't know what he was talking about, the first game on our list for next week was Jacksonville. Is it at Buffalo? At Buffalo. So yes, I don't think
they're London though, so it doesn't really matter.
Is it in London? Is that one too?
Yeah, that's why I said they've been there for 2 weeks. Yeah, they've been there. They've been there for too long. It's yeah, you're out there too long. You're thinking football, soccer now. Yeah. Buffalo is gonna come out there and they're gonna go crazy.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. So
hopefully it's a good game though.
It should be. I think it's gonna be a good game. But keep in mind, the Bills lost their cornerback.
Tre'Davious White, again, which is crazy.
I know
stay
that's
healthy.
tough.
He just cannot stay healthy. I think their defense, the way they play their defense is though, like he enhances it, but they always play good without him though.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
because look, they lose Tre'Davious, but they possibly get Vaughn back.
Which would be a great time for him
A
to come.
lot of help.
It would be a great time for him to come back. All right. So next, the game that I picked was Steelers versus Ravens, and I think this game, it's I look at it like the Ravens definitely look like the team of the division right now. I want to know. I was curious all off season about the Steelers and Kenny Pickett and what was going to happen, but we all pretty much agreed like they had four teams that in the off season looking at them, if any one of those teams won the Super Bowl, we wouldn't be excuse me, won the division, that it wouldn't be a complete shock. You know what I mean? So I'm still curious about Pittsburgh and where they are. But yeah, what you think about that game?
I think Kenny Pickett's not ready. I actually, in the beginning of the year, I was on the George Pickens hype train a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They just can't get him the ball, and it's even harder without Deontay Johnson.
He's out for the year,
I
unfortunately.
just think their offense is just so they just have to do something about this offense. Their offensive line needs a lot of reconstructing. They're making Najee Harris look very bad. He's probably going to end up leaving there, honestly. And they're just wasting their defense because that defense is playing pretty good, and the defense is getting younger. But you know, T.J. Watt makes that world go round, and every year y'all don't do something about your offense, T.J. Watt's getting older, and then by the time y'all get it together, he'll be as old as J.J. was at when he was getting hurt and couldn't play every game and every down and stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah, we
I think Lamar's kind of on a little roll right now, and they're supposed to be getting their weapons back, I think, too. So, like, I think OBJ is coming back. I think it was somebody else that they were saying was coming back too. So, I think this game Baltimore is going to have their way with Pittsburgh.
Okay. So, actually, I think Pittsburgh's going to win this game. I think so. If this was in Baltimore, so coming into the season, if you'd have said Baltimore's going to sweep Pittsburgh, I would have said no. So what do I think more the scenario that I think is more likely that them winning at home or them winning in Baltimore? This game's in Pittsburgh, and they're looking at a team that looks like the class of the division. The other everybody looks at them and says they're the class of the division. They had that underdog way coming into it against a team that they know very well and they play them all the time. So I do think the Ravens will drop a game to Pittsburgh. I think it's this one, and that's why I'm basically jumping out on a limb on that.
I would agree because I look at divisions like that too. I just think Pittsburgh is in such a slump. I don't think they could climb out of it that fast against a semi-hot Baltimore team. Mm-hmm. So I think they could get swept if by the second game they don't get something together. Even though it's going to be in Baltimore. So.
Okay. So then we got what should be the game of the week. Cowboys versus the 49ers. And I just wanted to make sure it's in San Fran, right? Yes,
not sure.
It's in San Fran. So I'm going to jump on this one. So I actually think, and this is me telling the truth, I think it'll be better for San Fran if they actually lost the game. I know that always sounds crazy to hear that, but I think they need San Fran's so good. If they just steamrolling everybody, they could usually teams that steamroll everybody, they take their foot off the pedal. Like they don't believe that, oh yeah, they can come and they could beat us. So I think them losing to a team that they could see again and the potential of them seeing again in the playoffs is pretty high. To get their attention and have them be the angrier team coming into it or into the playoffs, knowing, oh yeah, we could lose to a team. I think that actually would serve them.
I think
hold on. With that said, I think San Fran's going to win the game.
But nah, I think this game is going to be a lot better and closer than people are looking at it to be. Um, I think it's going to be less of a battle between Dak Prescott versus Brock Purdy, less of a Tony Pollard versus Christian McCaffrey, and more of a Nick Bosa versus Michael Parsons. I think Michael Parsons is going to have another one of those big games.
He has to.
But I do think that San Fran is still just going to win. They just got too much. Like I said, Dak, I kind of starting to feel like it's over. Dak's going to make mistakes against San Fran's defense. And that's just kind of what it boils down to. I think Brock Purdy, even when he doesn't play great, he doesn't make the mistakes that I feel Dak's going to make. And Christian McCaffrey is just doing what Christian McCaffrey does. You still got Debo, you still got Ayuk back, Kittle. Like they just got so many weapons on their offense to even in a tough game, you got people that you can rely on to get the ball to and stuff like that. And even though I think, the Cowboys have some good weapons on offense, is Dak making good decisions. And again, like I said earlier, Dak doesn't make good decisions under pressure, and they're going to put pressure on him. So I just think San Fran is going to win because of that.
Yeah, like San Fran has the better roster with which one called Diggs going out for this season. You know what I mean?
And that's another major thing too.
Yeah. So like I thought like that would made it closer. Where I was like, I still think San Fran has the better roster, but it would have been closer. But I think San Fran definitely has the better roster, and I think that they do have the better quarterback too. And I don't think Brock Purdy is like great yet. I still got to see what's going on.
Yeah,
but
he's still hanging things.
But I think, yeah, so like he's got a better, so it's an easier road for him. It's you know what I mean. I think they actually do have the better quarterback. I don't think that like if they switch teams, I don't think that San Fran is any better.
Yeah, it's not really going to look that different if quarterback switch.
Yeah,
I will say I think if Brock Purdy played there, he would do better in Dallas. Just because he would make less mistakes.
I don't think so. Only because the thing in Dak's favor is he is the culture right now, and they do respect him as a leader. Like he does lead them. He's just not overly talented. And Brock Purdy is not.
I don't believe he's. I think he's postered as a leader. He doesn't give me leader vibes.
Dak is a leader. Okay, there's been quarterbacks that are not overly talented, and
that gives me the vibes of niggas on the team is scared of Jerry Jones, and Jerry Jones is like, "That's my grandson. You better listen to him." Like that's what they give me over there.
I'm not gonna let you do that. Dak is the leader.
I'm just saying I don't see it.
Right, but like I said, I think for San Fran, I think it would serve them more to lose this game. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
But you just don't think it's gonna happen. Yeah, so.
So actually, I got a quick question. I always stop thinking about this. Yo, what do you think about what's Dallas's wide receiver? 88. CD. What do you think about CD Lamb?
I think CeeDee Lamb is a very good. It's funny, we had a big argument at our fantasy draft about wide receivers, and we had it was like the Eagles fans and the Cowboys fans in the room arguing about who was better out of their receivers. Mm-hmm. And the Eagles fans were like really shitting on CD, and I'm like, yo, y'all really bugging. Like CD runs real good routes. He has good hands. He's he might not be the biggest, but he plays kind of big as far as like getting upfield and breaking tackles and stuff like that. Like he plays pretty big in those aspects. I think he's a very talented receiver. I don't put him in the cluster of 10 to 12 that could be labeled top 5, but I do put him somewhere in that top 15-ish range, maybe a little higher than 15, 10 to 15. But I like him. I just, again, they're putting much on Dak's plate, and he can't I mean, he's doing what he needs to do. He's getting the numbers and the touches and all that, but I feel like he could flourish something crazy somewhere else.
Yes, okay. I agree with that. I do think he's a solid wide receiver one. I don't think he's great though. And you know what I mean? Sometimes I think maybe in that market he kind of gets pushed over to that. But
I'll
once
tell you
again, and I told you, I'd rather have a solid wide receiver one than a great wide receiver one if I'm trying to win a Super Bowl.
I'll tell you this. I think he could win the Triple Crown with the Rams.
I mean, a lot. I mean, so then, yeah, because then you're saying, all right, is he not better than Puka? Yeah, he's better than Puka. Okay, yeah, he is. So yes, he can. But that seems to be a little bit unfair of a statement.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's a little Cooper Cup dig, I guess.
You know what I mean? So it's all good. So JB, man, you got any last words or anything you want to say before we wrap this thing up?
Nah, man, appreciate you. Already know, man. Every time you call, appreciate you for having me. Y'all know how we do things, man. Fours up to the door shut, man.
Y'all already know. So once again, everybody, please check us out. You can check us out once again, Spotify, YouTube. First of all, can I just say, JB, and I've said this to you before. I'll go back to that, and I've said this to you. How we get 50,000 views on Instagram? I look on YouTube, got like 4 views. What's up with that, y'all?
You know how it goes, man.
What's up with that, y'all?
And algorithms are just different, so you just got to keep pushing where it's at. So where you got the top views at, you got to keep pushing there. Everything else will come into place. Like, y'all, we already talk about that a lot.
You understand, but I'm gonna say you don't understand, but you understand. I went on there. I said, look at that. Let me see how many views is on there. We're about to kill this. 4. Oh,
it's a lot. It's a lot to watch. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it'll all come to though sooner or later.
It's valid. It's valid. So once again, check us out on Spotify, YouTube. You can check out our clips that we're going to put on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We all over the place. And JB, man, you know it's always a pleasure. But once again, we got to tell you, cuz you don't know football. Always a pleasure having you on, brother.
Appreciation.
We're going to have you back on soon.
Yes, sir.
Podcast loading.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely, man. Got a lot coming. See y'all soon with everything.
Let's do this.